Hello, everybody. I hope you can all see and hear me. My name's Olivia Marks-Waldman. I'm the Chief Executive of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. So lovely to see so many of you on the call. Really lovely to see so many familiar faces and names popping up. And equally lovely to see some of you who are new to us as an organisation. On the one hand, I'm so sorry we're not all in the room being able to be together. On the other hand, I know that many of you are joining us from all around the country, so it's great that we're able to make this an event that everybody can join. This is one of the more fun events that we do during the year. I love this time of year when we're showing you what we're producing that are going to enable you to run your HMD events in January. And so exciting to know how many of you are already planning for January, getting to grips with our theme, Ordinary People, and wanting to see what we've got that will help you. So just some very basic housekeeping rules. The session will be recorded, as you'll have just seen. It means that people can watch it later if they weren't able to join us now. We will be taking some screenshots, helps us put it out on social media so people know the event's happened and they can log on to our website and get the resources. If you'd rather not be profiled on our screenshots, just turn your camera off. Closed captions are available. If you think you'd find those helpful, then click at the bottom of the screen where it says CC. There's a button. It works on laptops or desktops, not on phones or tablets. You can see me reading my crib notes here. This is not my comfort zone. So if you've got any queries about this, put it in the chat and one of the team will try and help you. To keep today's event as interactive as we can, albeit online, one of the team will put questions in the chat function for you to consider. So engage with those, give it some thought, maybe put some thoughts into the chat as responses if you'd like to. There will be time at the end of the event for questions for us to engage with. So please do put any questions you've got in the chat. Team members will be monitoring it, so we'll be able to pull those out and respond to them and read them out at the end. If we don't have time to respond to all the questions, we'll do our best to respond to people after the event, or there might be information on our website or social media that will give you the answers to the questions. We're trying to keep the event running to an hour, so it's not too kind of onerous being on a screen. But we've got quite a lot of very interesting conversation to have in that hour. I'm delighted that we've got a really lovely programme for this hour with Gideon Summerfield and Antoinette Mutabazi. We're really honoured to have them. And firstly, I shall hand over to my colleague, our Senior Education Officer, Alex Blake.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Hi, everybody. Fantastic to see you. My name's Alex. I'm Senior Education Officer here at Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. So this afternoon, we're going to talk to you a bit first about our National Youth Arts Project, Extraordinary Portraits. I'll introduce that, and then we'll hear from our guest speakers, Gideon and Antoinette. And after that, we're going to hear about a lot more other new resources from the outreach team. So it's well worth hanging around for the whole hour. I'm just going to have a go at sharing my screen quickly. Here we go. All right, so we're delighted today to launch Extraordinary Portraits, a national youth arts project and competition. It gives young people the opportunity to learn about and honour someone affected by the Holocaust, genocide or identity-based persecution by creating a portrait of them. The project takes inspiration from this year's theme, Ordinary People. It is open to anyone under 25, and that includes secondary schools can take part, youth groups, universities, and individuals. Entrants will be able to submit portraits in a visual art form of their choice. So you can see some beautiful examples here of existing portraits of Lily Ebbett, a Holocaust survivor. So young people might choose photography, drawing, painting, sculpture, collage, graphic design, something that I can't think of. So very open brief to get creative. They're briefed with creating pieces which will highlight the extraordinary side of seemingly ordinary people. 30 winning portraits will be selected, and they will be shared as part of the online commemoration this year in January, and that is seen by tens of thousands of people around the world. There'll also be an online gallery which highlights the winners, but also features lots of other portraits that we receive from young people around the country. Portraits immortalize people. They help us to commemorate their history, and they help others to learn these important stories. The arts give young people a way to learn about these people's lives in a different way, and to consider the extraordinary histories that we're learning about. The project also gives us a visual insight into how young people relate to our work and the themes that we cover on Holocaust Memorial Day. We're really excited to be partnering with the Royal Drawing School on this project. They're bringing world-leading artistic expertise. And we have a stellar panel of high-profile judges as well, including acclaimed photographer and director Rankin, who is supporting this project for a third year running. Two of our judges are Gideon and Antoinette, who are speaking today. The Royal Drawing School recently hosted a workshop where students listened to the experiences of Amuna Adam, a genocide survivor from Darfur, and then spent the day creating a portrait of her. We are just about to put online a video from that workshop, and it's just lovely to see the young people engaging with her story and creating really incredible work. So I encourage you to go and find that. It's very, very freshly edited, so it's not quite online yet. We really hope to see schools, universities and youth groups around the country running similar workshops. And we've created a resource full of activities, tips and creative guidance, which is free to download on our website and which I'll talk through a bit more later. The competition side of the project closes on the 5th of December. So if you want to take part in the competition, make sure you submit your portraits by then. After this date, the project continues through until February. So we encourage people to create your portraits and display them locally for Holocaust Memorial Day in January. And you can also share your portraits online using hashtag HMD Extraordinary Portraits. We're hoping to see group exhibitions in schools, libraries, colleges, wherever young people gather, all around the country for HMD 2023. So we'll now hear from competition judges Antoinette Mutabazi, survivor of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, and artist Gideon Summerfield, who are going to talk about their work and their involvement in the project. Over to you, Gideon.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm just going to share a few images. Just bear with me for one moment, and then I can... Very quickly indeed. It didn't ease any of my concerns. They had a call yesterday, after a call with okay. Hi everyone, my name is Gideon. I hope you can see the images. I'm an artist and also a Royal Drawing School graduate. I'm very honoured to be one of the judges for the extraordinary portrait competition. 9 years ago, I began a personal project recording the lives and experiences of Holocaust survivors. This involved creating a series of portraits that have since been used as a living testimony, legacy for the survivors, as well as being used as an educational tool for future generations. Many people who endured such horrific things when they were only my age and even younger had a profound impact on my life and myself. I was just 18 at the time, and I couldn't believe Holocaust survivors were still alive. And I'm so grateful to have been able to meet those who were in their twilight years and to spend time with them, to be able to call them close friends of mine. Sadly, over the years, many have passed, which has only strengthened my conviction in ensuring that we always remember and never forget. Some people read books, others watch films, but my way of learning has always been through art. I believe art is a great way to connect with people in a different and more unique way. And for the most part, that's how I connected with these survivors, was through art. They loved art, and often when I would meet up with them, we would be drawing together. And many survivors used art therapy as a way to express themselves. It's where words cannot speak, and it's a universally understood language. It's also one of the mediums, very few mediums, that is instantly understood, as all the information is received at once. And my portraits are a small fragment of the survivors, their memories, their experiences. Although if you look closely at them, many contain clues and indications of their past. This one includes a portrait of Rosie, and as part of her story, I try to express these sort of bare trees in the background, which indicates loneliness or vulnerability. And then another portrait shows a tin ring given by her past lover within the concentration camps that gave her hope to survive and to be reunited. Or two hill mounds that resemble piles of dead bodies. Art has allowed me to make things tangible on canvas, giving me control in choosing what to draw. I look at my portraits and these people, my friends, and they are a mere record of precious time spent with them. However, I know that I'm so happy that knowing that so many people have seen my portraits and noticed different things, and leading them to learn about these individuals and about the Holocaust, and importantly, to ask questions. So I'll now turn to Antoinette and to tell us a bit about herself, and then I'd love to ask her a couple of questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gideon. My name is Antoinette Mutabazi. I am a genocide survivor against Tutsi in Rwanda. I am at the moment working as a chaplain at the University of Bedfordshire here in Luton. And yeah, my world was turned upside down when I was a child, and I witnessed the darkest side of humanity. And I lost the dignity, or was taken away from me by the murderer back home in Rwanda. And my experience has, growing up during the genocide, has been so difficult and lonely. So at this time, when we talk about extraordinary people, and when we say what is going to happen or what we can do, I'm really looking forward as being one of the judge to be able to really show how we could be people that can bring change, or can speak and share with the next generation that there is more into life, and we can build a better future, not only for us that have survived the genocide, but also for the next generation. So thank you so much for inviting me to come in today and share with you, and yeah, take a part through this extraordinary people in this for this coming season. Over to you, Gideon.
Yes, thank you, Antoinette. So I have two questions for you. The first is, what do you hope people to learn from your experience?
Well, I hope that people will not only the hardest or like terrible things that happened to me during genocide against Tutsi, but I'm hoping that this could be an inspiration for next generation to learn from the past experience, to learn from the genocide that happened in the past, and we can together build a better future. Because you know, genocide wasn't done by this monster, you know, it was normal people that has chosen to murder and chosen you know, to kill their neighbors. So I want to inspire next generation and everyone that is able to listen today that we can be extraordinary people to build a better future.
Absolutely, I agree totally. I mean, such vulnerability, and people need to be looking after each other and to help one another, and for future generations to know about genocides that have happened since the Holocaust and that perhaps still continue today. And then my second question is, if there was a portrait created of you, maybe not by myself, but by another artist, what would you love to be included of yourself, and why? But would you perhaps like to have an object in your hands that is meaningful to yourself?
If I was to have a portrait that's for me, I would love to have a frame of a picture of my mom with me that I treasure the most. I lost, my mom was murdered on my birthday, and I deeply lived a life of missing her, and I know how to grieve and blow the candle of my birthday cake missing the person that I treasure the most. So if I was to have a portrait of me drawn, probably that's one of the objects I would like to have.
Thank you. Yeah, that's beautiful. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you both so much for sharing with us today. Absolutely incredible to see your artworks, Gideon. We've been having lots of comments in the chat about the power of your art. And Antoinette, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story and also your hopes for this project and your involvement in the project. I'm sure that there are lots of questions for both of you, and some might have started coming in, and we're going to have a little bit of time at the end of the session to hear some of those and maybe get some of your responses. So thank you again both so much.
Thank you.
I am going to reshare my screen. Okay. Okay. So here you can see some sample pages from the resource that I talked about that will help people to take part in this important project. This is designed for young people to download themselves and have a look through to help get them started, but it can also be used by educators and youth leaders to run a session and get a class or a group involved. Along with the PDF that you can see, all the example artworks are also provided in a PowerPoint to make them really easy to share and discuss in a classroom type setting. The resource features 4 life stories of people affected by the Holocaust, Nazi persecution of other groups, and the genocides in Rwanda and Darfur. The life stories each have several photographs with them. So these people can be subjects for young people's portraits, even though they may not have the opportunity to sit with them in the room. They can work from the photographs and build on what they've learnt about their life. We've also provided guidance on choosing a different subject and conducting your own research. Many artists have really generously allowed us to include their portraits in the resource as examples, and those are in a range of art forms. Photographer Rankin, sculptor Ian Walter, and the Royal Drawing School artist and tutor Rachel Mercer have created short films for the resource with their top tips for young artists taking part. Gideon, who you just heard from, has provided an activity with an annotated portrait highlighting the artistic decisions he made and why he made them. I saw some of you starting to analyse the portraits in the chat earlier. We also have a section exploring the 3 existing portraits of Holocaust survivor Lily Ebbett that you saw on screen earlier with discussion questions. As always, the resource is available to download for free from our website. There's no cost to take part in the project. So if young people, educators, or youth leaders would like to discuss taking part individually or with a group, please feel free to contact us directly. Along with this project, as I said, we have other new resources launching today. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleagues in the outreach team to talk these through with you. So Tony, over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here and to tell you a bit more about all of the hard work we've been doing in recent months. So here you can see our refreshed Get Involved guides. Here's some pages of a small sample of what we call the gigs. There are 10 in total, and each has been created with a specific audience in mind. They've been available for several years now, but we've updated them for 2023, and we're really pleased to share them with you today. There are guides available for each of the following audiences. We have cinemas, colleges and universities, emergency services, libraries, faith and interfaith, local authorities, museums and galleries, prisons, trade unions, and finally workplaces. Each guide features updates for 2023. They are available now, of course. And these include audience-specific sections on ideas and resources, as well as a selection of example activities to inspire you. You can see a snapshot here of the gig for emergency services. I think that's the next slide, Alex, please. Yeah. And this features the South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue HMD event, where staff heard from Antoinette, who we have here today. Also the police in Scotland, who displayed posters in their stations and offices, as well as handing out our About HMD booklets, which are free to order from our website soon. And finally, Guy's Hospital in London, where staff at the Haematology Day unit joined the online UK ceremony and were kind enough to share this photo with us. To offer further inspiration, we've included images and quotations from organisers who have held HMD activities in previous years. And all guides now also include sensitivity guidance and advice for organising an online or hybrid event. The updated gigs are free to download from our website and are easily accessible through the link at the bottom of the screen. The next resource that I'd like to talk to you a little bit about is the Holocaust Memorial Day blog template. After every HMD and throughout the year, we listen to the feedback of organisers such as yourselves, and we encourage everyone to share their achievements, but also their challenges with us. And this helps us tailor our future resources and the support that we offer in a way that makes HMD accessible to all. We collect this information directly from organisers, and we combine it with our evaluation from the previous year's activities, considering which resources were used most frequently and which ones that we may need to adapt for better use later on. Excuse me, just a moment, sorry. One of the things that stood out to us the most has been the number of organisers who referred to a strain on capacity and budget as directly impacting on their plans to put on an HMD activity. This challenge has, of course, been exacerbated by the struggles of recent years with COVID restrictions and the additional work that this has led to for many sectors. Taking this on board, we decided it would be useful to create a blog template. It's both easy to use and it's cost effective in terms of the resources it requires. Many organisers already write their own blogs, of course, and we continue to encourage this. But our vision for this template was to encourage those who may wish to develop their involvement in HMD. For example, from a social media post saying something like, "Today is Holocaust Memorial Day," into something that's similar, but also allows audiences to go that little bit deeper and learn a little bit more about HMD. Here you can see a snapshot of the website landing page, the purple button to download, and a glimpse of the instructions that follow a what, where, when, how model. Once you click the download button, you'll receive a simple Word document. You can see a snapshot of this on the right-hand side of the screen. The template is fully prepared with preloaded core information, our logo, and it comes with room for your own logo to be added as well. In addition, we've got prompts which are written in red, where you can add more information to make it personal to your organisation. And that also makes it relevant to your audiences specifically. The blog includes brief sections on what is HMD, allows room for a message from you, more information about local activities in your area specifically, a bit about us at HMDT and the UK ceremony, as well as more information about the national moment. On the website landing page, you'll also have the opportunity to download the associated social media graphic so you can spotlight your blog and draw your audience's attentions to your HMD activity on your social channels. We've created this template so that it can be used year on year, and we encourage all users such as yourselves to make use of it, but also to get creative with your HMD activities, to try out new additional activities and events, especially when there is budget or capacity to do so. And we're here to support you with that. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much, Tony. I'll now hand over to Joe. I see we've lost my lovely PowerPoint, but Joe is going to talk to us about a couple more resources, and I'll share that with you now.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Miller, Head of Outreach, and I'll be talking to you about two more new resources we have. The first is an addition to our large collection of life stories that cover individuals from the Holocaust, Nazi persecutions, and the genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia, and Darfur. This new life story is of Marcel Hoffman. By way of a kind of brief overview of Marcel, he was born in 1902 and worked as a railway worker in Lille for the French, for the National French Railway Company. After the occupation of France by Nazi Germany in 1940, the French National Railway Company was used by the German war machine, like many other European companies, to deport millions of people, most of them Jewish, to concentration and extermination camps. On the 11th of September 1942, Jewish adults and children from Lille were rounded up by the Nazis and taken to Lille-Fives train station to be deported ultimately to Auschwitz. Marcel and other railway workers noticed the roundup and decided to act, putting their own lives at risk in doing so. While Marcel distracted the German guards, other railway workers pretending to be cleaning staff helped to hide some of the men, women and children in warehouses nearby. On that day, Marcel and his colleagues rescued over 40 children and adults. However, there were still 500 who were not so fortunate and were sent to, on to Auschwitz-Birkenau. Of those 500, only 15 were to return at the end of the war. One of those rescued by Marcel and his colleagues was 10-year-old Oskar Schack-Silsaft, who, along with his mother and 2-year-old brother, were hidden separately by 2 railway worker families. However, on the 8th of November 1942, Oskar and his family were trapped by debris during a bombardment. But once again, Marcel, amongst others, stepped in to rescue him and his family again. This would not be the last time Marcel rescued Oskar, and unbelievably rescued him a 3rd time, after informing his mother that one of the nurses who was treating him following the bombardment he believed was calling the Gestapo to inform them of his presence. Oskar, his mother and brother remained in hiding until the liberation of France in 1944. In 2016, in honour of the events of the 11th of September 1942, a plaque was unveiled at the former train station of Lille-Fives in attendance with Oskar and Marcel Hoffman's daughter. The plaque includes the names of all identified saved children and their rescuers. The second resource I want to talk to you about is our, is the Ordinary Objects Extraordinary Journeys project. This project was developed in partnership with the National Holocaust Centre Museum and the Jewish Museum of Greece, and provides a unique and interactive experience following the journeys of 4 individuals affected by the Holocaust through the prism of objects that belong to them. The website showcases how a Holocaust Memorial Day Trust will be using artifacts to continue to tell the stories of survivors, even when they're no longer with us. And the objects featured are seemingly commonplace, but through further exploration, they reveal the harrowing journeys and heartbreaking experiences of their owners before, during, and in some instances after the Holocaust. By tracing the journeys these objects have been on, it helps create a greater understanding of the Holocaust, its complexities, and casts a light on lesser known aspects and shares previously unknown testimonies. Each of the 4 stories contained an individual account, images of the various objects that belonged to those individuals, a 3D function to view some of the objects from different views and perspectives, and an explanation of the significance of each object and a map of that individual's specific journey. I'll now share my screen so we can look at the website in a little more detail. Thank you. So hopefully everyone can see that. So starting with the individuals concerned, we're going to be looking at one of them, Julie Weiss, and each of the four stories contains an overview of that individual's life, background, and what they went through in clear detail that you can follow in a classroom or outside. And it also contains a geographical journey that allows you also to follow the kind of specific geographic journey that individuals taken in their life stories. So in Julie's case, from Austria and eventually ending up in Scotland. Finally, it provides you with an opportunity to look in depth at the different objects they brought with them on those journeys. Some of the ones Julie bought included chess pieces, medals of competitions, chess competitions she won, jewelry boxes, family portrait pictures here, again, that can be explored in full detail. And most excitingly, the opportunity to look at, in this case, the mezuzah, and play around and see the object as if you were holding it in person from different angles and perspectives. So objects that previously you might not have been able to see, except perhaps if you're on a visit to a museum or the Holocaust Centre itself, can now be viewed from the comfort of a classroom or from your own home. And to accompany the website, we've got a new educational resource for secondary schools that sits alongside it and gives educators a starting point of how they can best use the website, how it can be used to mark HMD, and how it could be used as part of a history lesson. In terms of Julie's own story, it follows her from her birth in Austria through to her planned and somewhat fraught evacuation to England, where she ended up with her brother and her son. And I would urge any of you, if you've not done so already, to explore the website and use the educational resource in your classrooms or outside to help provide an excellent learning, educational and understanding opportunity with regards to survivors and non-survivors of the Holocaust. Thank you for listening. I'll now hand over back to Alex.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, Alex, I think you're on mute, sorry.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Joe, for that presentation. We were already getting comments about the OOEJ website as you were scrolling around it, so that's fantastic to see. Here is a little overview of the education resource that Joe mentioned. This breaks down the content from the site for educators so that you can quickly find what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for stories that interact with particular themes or that go through particular countries, this will help you with a starting point. And we've also provided ideas for how you might use OOEJ to mark Holocaust Memorial Day or as part of the history curriculum in secondary school as well. So this is a really good place to start. The site is very big and it has loads of beautiful content, so this should give you a way in to help with your planning. We know how busy teachers and educators are. Finally, there are two other brand new resources that I need to tell you about today. For HMD 2023, we're encouraging organisers to invite your local MP or devolved representative to your HMD activity. This is an important way to raise the profile of Holocaust Memorial Day and to ensure that decision makers are joining us in learning from genocide for a better future. MPs and other politicians will need as much advance notice as possible. So we've prepared a template invitation to make the process very easy, and you're welcome to edit it based on your local circumstances. Once you've sent your invitation, we'd be really grateful if you could update us on inquiries@hmd.org.uk so that we're aware of MPs visiting local activities and who they are. Our new Take Action page on our website provides tips on what HMD activity organisers and your attendees can do after marking HMD to help prevent identity-based persecution and discrimination in the UK and around the world. We know that people who mark HMD do more in their local communities as a result, so this page will help you to get started. There are actions there that take 5 minutes, 1 hour or longer, depending on how much time you have. At the end of your HMD activity, you could discuss with attendees what actions they can take and direct them to the webpage for further tips and guidance. We've been providing links on the screen, as you can see, throughout today's presentation, and you can find our whole collection of resources, new and existing, on our website in the resources section, and that includes life stories, films, poems, faith resources, youth resources, schools materials, and lots more. Once your activity is organised, make sure you remember to let us know. You can add it to the HMD 2023 map, which will be available in the next few weeks for people to start adding their activities to, or you can email us at the address on the screen. The physical resources will also be available to order in the next few weeks on our website, so make sure that you get that order in plenty of time so that we can get things shipped out to you. We now have a few minutes for questions, either for us in the outreach team who you've heard from today, or for our guest speakers, Gideon and Antoinette. So thank you for Tony, who's been monitoring the very lively chat throughout today's session. And I believe you've picked out a few questions to get us started.
Thanks very much, and thank you everyone for contributing to our hints and questions along the way. Much encouragement from you all, and just want to start by saying thank you for that as well. Lots of comments about the different types of artwork and your perceptions about those and opinions, which is really lovely to see. And really encouraging. Lots of really great feedback in terms of resources specifically and how you might be using them. So it's really good to see that your ideas are already churning, and we're looking forward to seeing that, hearing more about those as they develop. So please do pop any specific badges. I've just read a question, do apologize. Pop any specific questions in the chat. I can just see a couple come through now about ordering booklets and badges. So I'm going to hand over to Alex to answer that one, and then I'll collect some more as we go through.
Yes, someone's asked what physical resources are available, which is a very good question. So we have about HMD booklets, which are a sort of small takeaway thing that you can put on chairs for everyone at your event. We have badges like the one that I'm wearing here. Which side is it? There it is. And those are available to order in small quantities for speakers. We also have HMD stickers. So if you want to give everyone who's coming something to represent that they've been at an HMD event, the stickers are a really good option for that. We may have some other physical resources. I'm looking at my operations colleagues, but those are the main ones. Great. So as I say, the order form for all of those will be available on our website in the coming weeks. It's not quite there yet. The resources are all completely free, but if you would like to choose to make a donation to HMDT in exchange for the resources, then that is an option as well.
We have a question from Gideon, if that's okay. Says, can you explain the use of monochrome in your work?
The use of monochrome?
And the clothes and background in colour. So monochrome in the use of the portraits at the front and the use of colour in the background.
That's a good question. I think it's partly because the when I'm drawing a portrait, I draw it from life, and I find that creating a portrait in pencil is the best ways to convey the pureness and rawness of the portrait, and using a pencil and to keep it monochrome, and it will allow me to draw out their expression. I often ask them very open questions, and a lot of the time they speak openly about their experiences and what they went through. And there's, for a split moment, I can see them reliving it through their eyes. And at that point, I then capture it through the drawn aspect. As I think the reason why I do a more colored background is because it sort of highlights the face and the portrait, and it allows me to add a more dramatic background or something, as I said during my talk, that relates to their past and their stories. Yes, I hope that helps.
While we have Gideon on screen, I wanted to ask a bit about your commitment to drawing portraits of Holocaust survivors. You said this is something you've been doing for many years. It's something that you started when you were very young, and it's a personal project. This hasn't been commissioned by anybody. So I just wanted to ask sort of why this focus for you?
Sure, it's a good question. I had learnt about the Holocaust throughout school and through my family, and I've always been interested in people and people who've experienced things which are so different to what I have experienced and what most people have experienced. And so it was just a way to understand, or try to understand and learn. And it sort of developed from there. And more recently, in recent years, I've drawn portraits of World War II veterans and those who helped liberate the camps. So it's been a really emotional but incredible experience to go along this this journey of meeting these extraordinary people. And I just think that I'd love to help share with the world in a visual way these individual people and their stories of survival, and also to help express, to show that these are the people who were lucky enough to survive, but also to help show that they were lucky and that there were millions of people who didn't survive. So it's somewhat the least that I could do.
Thank you, Gideon. Can I just ask if there is anybody with a question they'd like to ask specifically, if they could pop a hand up? We've got a bit more time for that, if that's possible.
While people are thinking about that, I just wanted to raise the point that in the chat, a few of my colleagues have put links and email addresses if you would like to get in touch with people directly. We have Shirley from Northern Ireland, who's our support worker there. My colleague Julia has given the link for donations. So please do have a quick scroll through the chat. And someone's asked if we can share the chat as well. And that's something that we are able to do. I'm getting a nod. So thank you for all of that and for your interest as well. I can see there's been another question about the portraits of survivors that Prince Charles, now King Charles, commissioned that are currently on display. That is a project that we weren't directly involved with, but was really incredible to have those launched on Holocaust Memorial Day this year. I think they're a really powerful collection. One of the portraits is featured in the resource. We got in touch with the artist and she's shared that with us. And it was an inspiring starting point really for us to set up this project. King Charles is our patron. So we really like that connection and making that commissioned collection kind of adding to that with portraits from young people all around the country. We think that's a really powerful thing to sort of bring that process to lots more young people as part of their educational experience and as part of I think responding to the emotion that comes along with learning these stories. the arts can be a really good way to process that and create something positive that helps you share what you've learnt. So we wanted to give lots more people that experience, really. I'm just quickly scrolling through the chat in case there are questions. I think they're mostly comments and they're really lovely. So thank you so much for contributing today. We are running ahead of time, which is a wonderful position to be in. So we're going to draw today's session to a close slightly early and let you all get back to your evenings. Thank you again so much to our speakers, Gideon and Antoinette. Really powerful to hear from you both. And thank you to the outreach team, many of whom sounded like they're getting colds, for presenting today. And I will just hand over to Olivia to sign us off. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody. It's one of my loveliest jobs to be able to do a very public thank you to the HMDT team, particularly the outreach team who've been working to produce these resources and to present them today. So Jo Miller, Alex Blake, Tony Griffith, Ava Oddy, who's been working behind the scenes and not with us today. You've done such an amazing job, and it's so exciting to see it launched publicly and to get these responses. And I'm so proud of all the work that you've done, and to have an opportunity publicly to thank you and congratulate you for your work is a lovely opportunity. Also to thank Beth and Tribe, who is the person who's designed them and made them look so beautiful and so engaging and just a pleasure to pick up and use. Well done, Bethan. And this event tonight wouldn't have happened without Rebecca and Julia and Carlo, making sure it all happened online and that we could all gather together from Northern Ireland, Scotland, and across the United Kingdom. Thank you to the HMDT team. Thank you particularly Gideon Summerfield and Antoinette Mutabazi. So lovely to see those photos that came up with Antoinette at Buckingham Palace, where you deserve to be, collecting your MBE. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing not only your experiences, but also your thoughts and your insights into the work that we're doing. You'll have judged by the comments that were coming in how greatly those have been valued and appreciated. Thank you to both of you for sharing that with us today. Thank you to the Royal Drawing School, who are a wonderful partner for our extraordinary projects, our Extraordinary Portraits project. It's wonderful to have this relationship with the Royal Drawing School and to be able to do this project in partnership with you and with your students. Thank you to the National Holocaust Centre and Museum, who Jo mentioned as our partner for our Ordinary Objects, Extraordinary Journeys project, which is such a powerful project and is going to be informing so much of our work going forward. It's been wonderful to partner with the NHCM. And most importantly, thank you to all of you for joining us. Joining for Zoom things is becoming so much a part of our lives now, but I know that it takes up time from our days, and I'm delighted you've all been able to join us, to listen to the conversations, to see the resources, and to start those brains whirring. It's brilliant seeing all the ideas that are coming up in the chat and that are going to be inspiring us at HMDT. Please do get in touch with us over the coming months. We're here to help you make the most of your events, make them have an impact. We know that every Holocaust Memorial Day event makes a really big impact on the people who come. We know that people who come to events learn more about genocide, and they develop their empathy and their understanding, and they go on to make a difference in their own communities, and you make that happen. Every event that you organise makes such a difference to the people who come to it, and we're really looking forward to hearing about that over the coming months and to see that map fill up with activities for Holocaust Memorial Day 2023. So thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you to the team for making this event happen, and we look forward to continuing the conversations with you over the coming months. Thank you.